Hey guys, before we get this thing started, I wanted to show off some new merch that we got here, and I wanted to say thank you guys so very much for what you do, because we wouldn't be able to bring you content like this without your support. Well, we got a new camo hat in, and it is the trucker style right there. It's comfortable. You can't ever go wrong with camo. I think you could probably make it work with just about anything. So guys, check out that link in the description below, along with the Adapt and Overcome shirt that we just came out with. I hope you guys enjoy the video. George, I got a question for you real quick. How do you take a totally bad mother naturally aspirated car and make it better?
Nitrous.
So glad to have this nitrous outlet kit right here. This thing makes some monster power NA, and I mean, last we had it on the dyno, made 571 wheel, naturally aspirated, and it weighs 2,500 pounds. It is a monster car. We took it to the track, we broke the diff. When we made a whole bunch less power, the thing went 7 O's or something like that at like 107 or 8 mile an hour. So it should be on par, and that was with a junk 60 foot.
Sure, our clutch wasn't helping too much either.
Yeah, we're in the best shape that we've ever been in for this thing to go as fast as it could go, naturally aspirated. And then, let's throw some nitrous on top. Guys, if you remember back when Brent was tuning on the K-Series smart car, I was so blown away that you could basically make the power curve look like whatever you could dream up by controlling the boost control and by being able to, you know, mess around with the cam timing. It just blew my mind that that is a capable thing. Well, the beauty about the nitrous outlet kit here with the progressive controller is that we can basically do the same thing. With that progressive controller, we can go point by point, RPM by RPM, and dial the nitrous up or down. We can dial in traction. We can have a gear lockout. This is a complete game changer. The car was already very fast, but this puts it so far beyond that.
Sounds like you played with nitrous before.
Before they had controllers like this, like these progressive controllers, I had basically a poor man's nitrous setup, and it was awesome. It was just, I could slaughter whatever on the street. I had a 3-stage dry kit on my 99 Corvette. It made over 600 wheel horsepower in 2004, and it was just, I could just walk away from a GSX-R 750 from a roll. Ooh, that looks pretty good on you. Wow, did you have wardrobe change?
Wardrobe change.
That was fast.
Mid-video.
So this is definitely top of the line nitrous controller. When we power this thing up, you guys are going to be able to see you have multiple different stages. There's all sorts of really cool controls for this thing. So you want to be between 900 to 1050 is pretty much your golden pressure for running nitrous right there. Now, if you go up in pressure, as you can see where the red is right there, flow a little bit more. So with that, more pressure does move more volume. You know, I think it's like Boyle's Law or something like that. If fuel pressure drops, yeah.
So you're doing a wet shot. I'm sure this has a safety feature built in. If you don't have fuel pressure, it's not going to spray.
Yeah. And we might not even have room for the plates on the where we're at right there, because honestly, that throttle body is really close to the edge right there. So being able to have the nozzle, I feel for this application, is going to be our best overall solution. About this nitrous controller, you can go ahead and put in a 300 shot, and then in the end you can bring that duty cycle down to 50% so that it flows 150. Got traction, you got no problem, you're like, I think I could definitely take more. You just go into that controller and you bump up that little area in that RPM, and it'll go. And if you guys are new to nitrous, it's very simple on how to control things, but nitrous does require an education. So realistically, you do not want to spray underneath a certain RPM, and again, this progressive controller keeps you from doing that. So we can be able to keep this at, say, on at 3,500 RPM, off at 6,900 RPM right before a rev limit. You never, ever want to be able to be, you know, at your fuel cut with a nitrous on. That's a bad thing.
You have to monitor like bottle pressure.
They want you to regulate pressure so that you're able to, you know, have a good, consistent, hard hit. It's very consistent. So that should be a little transducer right there that basically will help regulate the temperature of the bottle. It's a beautiful thing, really. Guys, I was a nitrous junkie, just like you guys know that James is a nitrous junkie. Believe me, I had it really bad, real bad. All right, so this is a very thorough nitrous install. This car is going to be a monster.
New clutch, trans is good, fresh diff pin, all in the essentials.
All right, man, well, let's get to it.
Don't let this thing bust any welds in the manifold.
Yeah, that sucked. All right, so right here is a pressure transmitter. So that is going to go on the bottle, and we can be able to check our nitrous pressure. I mean, we can actually put it in the line. We don't even have to put it on the bottle, but it is best to have it at the bottle so that we can know exactly how much pressure we have, and that will show right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sitting here looking at it.
All right, George, how we doing here, bud?
We're doing all right.
Doing all right.
6 out of 10.
Okay. Definitely a very, very in-depth install.
It's definitely awesome.
It's going to be
Fat to the bone.
really, really, really in-depth. All the control that we have, it's pretty amazing, honestly. This is definitely the most extensive nitrous install I've done. And I've done some stuff like right out of high school on my first hot rod that was 20-something hours worth of labor. I mean, it was...
That was back when nitrous first came out.
We found our location that we want to mount the solenoids. We're going to need a custom line for this guy right here, which we cannot do today. We've got our purge set up. We did some wiring in the back, and we're bringing the power in under here. We got our nitrous pressure and we got our fuel pressure, and that'll be able to read out on the gauge inside. So we need to be able to get our TAC input for the RPM readout. We got to be able to get our TPS. We've got those identified. We know where to go. It's just, you know, knocking them out.
Running some wires.
George,
hey,
I got a neat little fact here. I'm going to give you a guess here.
Fun fact.
All right, so nitrous outlet comes with a -6 line. That's a pretty nice upgrade because normally you get a -4. So if you run a -4, let's take a guess real quick here. If you run no pill in there, how much power do you think you can make?
500?
Nope.
400?
Nope.
300?
Still less.
Just because it's a -4?
Yep. 2004, we ran no pill on a particular car, just trying to find out what the maximum that you could flow through a -4, and it was 270 wheel horsepower. However, if you got a -6, no such restriction. Way more.
Just a couple more wires, signal wires to tie up, 5 of them. Laz is getting the bottles filled up as we speak. A little cater tot right there. We got our cool little panel here. Yeah, we are making some good progress. We're about to have this thing fired up, spraying some nitrous outlet nitrous, and we're gonna be making some noise. We added us a ground wire in here. Just made this real quick. Just a big heavy duty ground to go right to the battery for all of our nitrous stuff right here. Got it bolted up right there. Got about 6 grounds on there, so nothing too crazy.
So excited. This thing is gonna rip so hard.
Rip, like
it ripped before.
It ripped before, but now it's gonna like rip.
I couldn't have said it better. We want to go over a couple of features that this progressive controller has because it is pretty amazing. It's virtually a standalone computer just for the nitrous. You can control all sorts of different things. You can control even the backlit part. So check this out. I don't know if you guys can see that very good, but let's turn the backlit part up a little bit. How's that? Is that better? Good. All right, so we have all of our RPM configuration. We got our sensor configuration. If you guys have a trans brake on a drag car, you can trigger it off of the trans brake when you let go of the trans brake. There is so many different features. It is pretty wild. Hold on.
I think you can talk to it too, like an Alexa. Hey, Nitro. I might not hook that wire up.
Oh, shoot. We're gonna make some more NA pulls the way that it is right now before we get into this, but we gotta make sure that everything is dialed in totally because last time we tuned on methanol, and it's time to go back to E85. This is basically our map. So we're gonna start here, and that says about 29%. And at the end here, we're gonna have about 69%. We're just gonna try and troubleshoot it, make sure everything is working the way that it should. We've got all these different maps that we can go through. Say for example, if we're at a track and we're not getting very good traction at all, and we wanna be able to have that come up. So we could even set up a map that's like very, very, very gentle, and then it starts to ramp up pretty aggressively. We can set up this map such that we're feeding it exactly the amount of nitrous that we want at the right RPM, such that we should be able to gain perfect traction. A lot of times I would talk about a window switch on a nitrous kit. This is basically that in one little menu right here. This is very, very simple. Do not spray beneath 3,500 RPM. Do not spray above 6,700 RPM. Pretty simple. So we have a gear lockout that we can use. We have an AFR lockout. We are not using that portion of it currently. However, fuel correction, that is amazing. The fact that you can alter the air fuel ratio on a nitrous kit, that is sick, dude. So they can pulse the fuel solenoid a little bit differently. That's amazing. See if we need to take timing out when we spray it or not, but we're trying not to. Well, let's see what it does. Kind of hovering right around that 530 mark. Now that we got our naturally aspirated figures totally squared away, finally it's time to spray. Yeah, but we're lean right now too, so we gotta wait until that fuel hits. Like a big thing about nitrous, guys, if you've not used it before, is that fuel takes longer to hit than the nitrous does. So it's like we might have to do that a couple times so the fuel's getting through the solenoid, you know? Let's try it again. We got to kind of figure and see if we need a lot more nitrous or a lot more fuel pills, what it looks like at the moment. What we've done is we actually purged out all the nitrous and we waited until we had the fuel. It took a lot longer for the fuel to get there. I made another pull after I purged out all the nitrous, and now we have fuel in the line. We're just trying to get everything, all our little bugs worked out, so we're gonna crack the bottle and give it, you know, not a full hit, but we're just gonna see where it's at. Basically, guys, we were not having enrichment before, but we were having nitrous, so that's one of those things that you kind of got to feel out, and that just takes experience. You know, we basically realized, understood, hey, we might have the perfect pill in there, we just haven't had the fuel actually hit yet. So now,
yeah, because we were able to purge the nitrous and test it with a button, couldn't really purge the fuel solenoid without actually tricking it to run.
Let's do it now.
See that?
Yeah, that was the easiest 600 wheel ever.
So you can see a bunch of partial pulls there where it's testing it, and pull 24. So are we ready to make some power?
Oh yeah, yeah, we're ready. And this was the ramp. So we've been playing around with this. We had to change the configuration, all that. When that hit, we were only getting like 3% nitrous at 3600, so like nothing.
Now, have you said anything about what size pills you put in here?
I got the big boys in there. It should be 200 at least. Really, we want to have a flat torque curve. That's really what we're kind of after, is we want to have a good, solid, broad torque curve. So we can feed it a little bit more up top. Ideally, I want this to kind of look like a centrifugal supercharger so that the power just goes on up. And that's what we're going to shoot for.
So if it was, say, a 6,000 pound blower truck and you wanted it to be more like a turbo, you could just add it on going up the RPM range?
Whoa.
A 6,000 pound truck, just an arbitrary figure, I'm sure that you have it.
Yeah.
We have got everything pretty much where we need it now. So when stage 1 is armed, we got the yellow bottle. When it is actually spraying, it goes green. But we're pretty much ready to rip right now. This thing...
Tell them what we found about the little wire problem.
Oh yeah, so we had this thing all wired in, and I had it upside down, and we're like, oh man. We turned it on and it was upside down, so Laz's like, oh, we had to flip it. Well, just so turns out, yeah, screen display, flip. Hey, look at that. We could have done that. Oh well.
So, that's a quick fix when you're sitting at the track with nothing to do.
Came in pretty strong, so I might just like subdue the torque just a little bit, maybe still roll with where we're at, but totally haven't totally figured out if we're going to be able to run this fuel jet or not.
That's pretty rowdy, dude. 674.
Yeah, dude, we're not even leaning on it at all. It's like we're just trying to work out the bugs, man. That is awesome. The air fuel is like kind of trickling through, like
How's the this is the first time you've been able to monitor fuel pressure on this car, isn't it?
Yeah, I never knew what it made. I figured it was probably 58 because we got the return style deal. That's what it's supposed to be. So never really had any interest in it, you know. Yeah. Now it's kind of like, hey, we should probably look at that, you know. All right, fellas, so what we have going on is basically we have a little bit too little. We're just a little too lean on the fuel. And I actually overpilled it just to begin with. But because we're on E85, it is going to be a larger pill. We're still a little bit larger, though. So we have a 43. We actually might need to be going to more like a 48. I thought that we had a 48, and I might have misread it. And we're going to go to a 52. So we actually, lads, I had to make an audible there. I think we're going to need to go with a 48 rather.
Back to the bag.
I thought that we had a 48 and I misread it. It was a 43. All right, so we need to go about 10% richer though. When I look at the air fuel ratio and we're closer to 13 to 1, I would be closer to 12 to 1 to be extra safe there. So that's what we're doing. All right, so we got about a 10% larger jet in there, and we should be able to probably turn up the duty cycle just a little bit more here. So let's see what we got. make this one count. Close enough. 697, that's awesome. 666 pound-feet of torque. That is pretty wild in this little itty-bitty 2,500 pound car. So
did you say that's evil torque?
It's evil torque. I can't wait to drive this thing, man. It's gonna be a heck of a lot of fun, but you're gonna have to hold on. It's been raining, what, half the day today or something like that, so there ain't no way we're gonna do it today, but just a little Sunday drive. 700 wheel horsepower Miata. Alright guys, this is the first drive with this thing with the new steering setup. I mean, the electric power steering that we got from Harvey Janis was awesome. I mean, the drivability is incredible. Really, really, really highly recommend it for anybody that doesn't have power steering. Awesome bang for the buck. Clutch also feels fantastic. The whole wheel and tire combination, so far, so good. I mean, it feels really, really, really nice. Have to get a little heat in the tires before we spray it, but looking forward to it. Definitely stoked to have you guys along for the ride too. All right, so let's get a feel for these tires real quick here. That's on motor. That thing rips. Feels awesome on motor. All right. I'm definitely a little sketched right here, to be completely 100% honest. Whoa! Dang! Third, you never felt like that. That was freaking nuts. We were skating along at third. Woo! Guys, we got some nasty drag radials on here. Wow! All right, let's try and. So the beauty of this whole kit, you can feed a little bit less nitrous to it so that we can get a little bit better traction. So let's do that right now. All right, so I'm knocking about 10 to 15% off my curve right here, and I hope that should allow me to put it down. But the beauty of it is the tweakability of it. I love the versatility. Well, that was quite a ride. This thing was already sketchy, and we managed to make it a lot more sketchier, even with an awesome wheel and tire package. So this Nitrous Outlet kit is probably the most advanced nitrous kit that I've ever used, and I've tuned lots and lots and lots of nitrous kits. But the car is a completely different car from what it was before. I mean, we got the power steering that we got from Harvey Janis, we've got the wheel and tire combination, we got our new monster clutch. It is honestly night and day different from what the car was before when we raced Cater Todd. I mean, not to mention that we're making, well, you know, another 170 wheel. All right, guys, we're going to close this out here, and I wanted to leave you with a little word of wisdom today. I guess you could probably do what I just did and maybe do something that scares you every day. The song I wanted to recommend is Bangarang by Skrillex. Hope you guys enjoy. God bless you. We'll see you next episode. Torvey, Norman, Penelope, Dory, Jericho.
I can't like do anything. Penelope's like, ow! She bit me.
Just another day.